If you guys are anything like me, you've been in a situation where you go to the grocery store, you pick up a bottle of lotion or cream, and you're met with an impenetrable wall of ingredients that either you need a significant technical background to understand what they mean, or if you can kind of tease out their meaning from their etymological prefixes and suffixes, you still don't know what they're doing in your skincare products. Ceramides are an ingredient that I have experienced in this situation and that I noticed a few months ago and kind of started researching. And today I hope to demystify that ingredient for you. My name is Asta Bills and I'm an amateur skincare enthusiast. This kind of started back in November when I sort of trashed my face with a very strong chemical exfoliant. And I have done a lot of research to try to fix that situation since I can't afford to go to a dermatologist. And in addition to that, I have done some research for this class and this assignment. So today, I hope to help you understand how ceramides function in skincare. First, I'm going to describe the structure of the outermost layer of skin and give you a definition of what ceramides are. Second, I'm going to describe the non-structural roles that ceramides play in healthy functioning skin. And third, I will discuss the efficacy of ceramides as ingredients in skincare products. So without further ado, let me give you a crash course in some kind of basic, but I guess not that basic dermatology. So in this portion, we're going to talk about the outermost layer of skin and define what ceramides are. The epidermis is your outermost layer of skin, and it itself is composed of 4 distinct layers: the stratum basal, the stratum spinosum, the stratum granulosum, and the stratum corneum. Now the stratum corneum is the layer we're most concerned about because it is the outermost layer of that outermost layer. It's composed of corneocytes, which are flattened skin cells that cannot reproduce, corneodesmosomes, which are proteins, and then a layer of various lipids. A common analogy that is used is to compare the stratum corneum to like a brick wall or a tile floor. If you refer to slide 2, you can see that the corneocytes are kind of like the bricks. The lipid layer is sort of like mortar. And then the corneodesmosomes, they're in there too, but they're more like rivets that kind of attach to the bricks and provide further structural integrity. Now this lipid layer, the mortar, is composed mainly of ceramides, free fatty acids, and cholesterol. Ceramides are the largest class of lipid molecules in that layer, and they make up about 50% of it. Ceramides can be differentiated from other lipids by their structure. They have a sphingosine base, which has a polar head and a nonpolar tail, and this is attached to a fatty acid by an amide bond. If you refer to slide 3, you can see a picture of this, and you'll notice that it sort of looks a little bit like a tadpole if the tadpole had a conjoined twin situation where the twin was partially reabsorbed before it hatched. So it's got like one head and 2 tails hanging off of that head. There are 3 broad classes of ceramides among human tissue and 12 subclasses within the stratum corneum alone. Types and density of ceramides within the stratum corneum vary by your body, like by the location on the body, by seasonality, as well as a person's ethnicity and age. So now that I have given you a rundown on the structural roles of ceramides, talk about the outermost layer of skin, and kind of define ceramides for you, we are going to talk about their other roles. So in the second portion, I will describe the non-structural roles of ceramides in healthy skin. Their first non-structural role is to act as messengers and regulate cell activity. Ceramides can signal cell death, cell differentiation, cell growth, and they can also signal inflammation as well. As documented in the 2016 article, Intercellular and Intracellular Functions of Ceramides and Their Metabolites from the International Journal of Molecular Medicine, a specific example can be ceramides signaling cell death for cells in the epidermis if they've been exposed to UVA. Perhaps the most important non-structural role of ceramides in the stratum corneum, though, is to act as a barrier preventing moisture loss. So within this lipid layer, your ceramides kind of line themselves up in bilayers, which I think sort of look like a big continuous sandwich, where the polar heads up here represent the bread, and then hanging down below we've got these non-polar tails. They're sort of like the filling. So you've got head, filling, filling, head. Under normal conditions, the ceramides are very, very densely packed in an orthorhombic, kind of solid crystalline structure. And if you look at slide 4, you can see this. They're arranged such that they're at 90-degree angles and the molecules don't rotate, they don't move. Then on top of that, you've got these nonpolar tails that don't move. And because they're nonpolar, they're hydrophobic, which means that they're not very permeable to water and to solutes. So this impermeability that's caused by a combination of that rigid orthorhombic structure and the hydrophobic tails means that ceramides are very effective and crucial for the skin's ability to maintain moisture and prevent dehydration. So now that I've discussed the non-structural roles of ceramides in the stratum corneum, I'm going to discuss whether or not they're even effective products in skincare. So in this final portion, I'm talking about the efficacy of ceramides in topical products. It's important to note that disrupted ceramide distribution within the stratum corneum can lead to a lot of problems. The first thing is that when there's disruption in the stratum corneum with the ceramides, they can switch from that very dense, impermeable orthorhombic structure to a much more permeable, less dense hexagonal structure, which can lead to moisture loss, which is not good. In addition to moisture loss, the loss of the impermeability can allow external microbes, irritants, and allergens to penetrate the tissues below. And that can lead to inflammation, which is not good because that can result in conditions such as acne vulgaris, atopic dermatitis, and psoriasis. However, topically applied products containing ceramides can help improve a compromised skin barrier. A 2018 study reported in the publication Pharmaceutical Research showed that barrier-compromised skin benefited from the application of ceramide-infused formulations in that a larger proportion of lipids phased back to that nice, tight, orthorhombic structure than they did when exposed to non-ceramide formulations. There's also anecdotal reports of ceramide-infused hydrocolloid bandages being used in wound care at patients with stoma sites, and using those products help improved skin discoloration, skin erosion, and tissue overgrowth, and this was visible within 14 to 21 days of beginning that regimen. There's another study where patients suffering from atopic dermatitis were treated with a ceramide-enriched emollient and were found to experience significant improvement in skin barrier function in as little as 3 weeks. And personally, a thing that really helped fix my busted, very chemically burned skin was simplifying my routine and incorporating a ceramide-rich cream both morning and evening. So there is some evidence to support that ceramides are efficacious in topical skincare. So today I have helped you, or at least attempted to help you, understand how ceramides function in skincare. First, I described the outermost layer of skin, the stratum corneum, and defined what ceramides are. Second, I discussed their non-structural roles in the stratum corneum. And third, I discussed the efficacy of ceramides in topical skincare products. Hopefully this knowledge will be useful to you the next time you are staring down a seemingly impenetrable wall of text on the back of your lotion or cream.